Hello, all. This is Dswank. I am back in Stellaris, and as you can see, we've got our imp homeworld here. Um, we've also been lucky enough to actually get all the stuff where we can start terraforming
System survey.
the ring worlds. Got money, things like that. I'm not sure if I've queued up any here or not, so I'm going to go ahead and at least get one queued here. And it's 5,000 days for those to be up and running, and all of the funness that is there. So we've got, I'm pretty sure I have, yeah, you're 4,000. Pretty sure I have all of them queued. Terraform, got that one. Terraform. Okay, 1, 2. So I've got a few. Yeah, I've got 2. And the home system that I need to work on. So, I'm just going to sit here, build up some resources so I can queue that. But while that's going, is it help? I don't think it's search. Yeah, it's not search. It might be the help, yes. Again, we're going to be 406. Okay. So we've got some news as to when Utopia is going to be released. Beginning of next month, seeing as this is March 1st, it'll be the 6th of April when Utopia is released, which is pretty freaking awesome. We've got some dev diaries that I wanted to take a look at. I don't think I remember looking at the psionics and the shroud and the megastructure, so I'm going to look at the indoctrination and government dev diaries while some stuff is running in the background. So, yay. Alright, so we're talking about the indoctrination stuff from 2 weeks ago. Let's see. A few different things coming in the Utopia expansion and associated banks updates, native indoctrination, unrest, and faction interactions. Anyone who's ever accidentally enlightened fanatic purifiers should be well familiar with the perils of not checking the ethics of a primitive civilization before deciding to enlighten or infiltrate them. I have had that issue. In Utopia, we've added a new tool for players to interfere with primitive civilizations: indoctrination. Indoctrination is a new observation station mission that allows you to educate primitives in your clearly superior way of thinking. Yes. While active, it will greatly increase the attraction of your governing ethics for pops on the primitive planet and cause them to drift towards those ethics over time. As the pops start changing ethics, the governing ethics of the primitive civilization will change along with them, and you will be notified that your mission is making progress. Given enough time to do its job, the mission will eventually cause the primitive civilization's ethics to precisely mirror your own. The indoctrination mission requires the active native interference policy, and so will be available to all ethics. Nice. Okay. I like this. And that is a paid feature. So that's something you need the DLC for. This is a free feature. They talked about ethics and faction rework a while ago, and the mention that details on how rebel factions would would come later. After some testing and iteration, we ended up deciding that the new faction system didn't really fit the old rebel style of faction, and consequently separated it into its own system called Unrest. Each planet has an unrest value from 0 to 100 determined by local conditions and sometimes empire-wide effects. Unrest is primarily increased by unhappy pops and decreased by happy pops, and the presence of garrisoned armies. Free pops, happy or not, will have a higher effect on unrest than enslaved ones, representing their ability to better organize against their oppressors. Unrest has directly detrimental effects on the planet's ability to produce resources and can also result in a number of different effects depending on the severity of the situation. The effects of such events are primarily political, with your population turning towards a particular ethic or against a government that is unable to protect it from violence and terrorism. However, unrest can also turn more serious when it is coupled with the presence of a particularly discontent or oppressive group, such as enslaved, underclassed, or nationalist movement. When such a group begins to organize, you will get an event warning you of the situation that gives you some time to try and get the unrest under control. If you fail to do so, the situation will escalate, resulting in the events of an increasing severity, such as hunger strikes, riots, and possibly even full-blown armed revolt. That is cool. That we have the potential for revolution now. Okay, and then we get some images showing what some of the pop-ups are. Faction interaction. This is a free feature. Also mentioned previous dev diary that you could use factions to shift your governing ethics. The new faction interaction system allows you to both influence which ethics will take root in your empire, as well as changing your governing ethics when a particular ethic grows strong enough. Each ethic has at least one associated faction, such as supremacist faction for xenophobes, and by promoting or suppressing that faction, you can spend a monthly influence cost to increase or decrease the attraction of its associated ethic across your empire. If a faction grows strong enough, you can also embrace that faction, shifting your governing ethics to more closely align with theirs. That I really, really like the concept of. And since I have some research, I'm going to do that real quick. What do I want, research-wise? Advanced force field, tachyon sensor survey speed, laser vortex. That sounds kind of cool, actually. Capacitor fields. Actually, let's go with better sensors. Yeah. Okay, back to the update. In most cases, shifting your governing ethics will involve moving a single step towards that ethic. For example, moving from xenophobe to fanatic xenophobe, or from fanatic xenophobe to xenophile. If shifting towards xenophobe. What? Okay. As the... or from... Okay. Oh, I misread that. For example, moving from xenophobe to fanatic xenophobe, or from fanatic xenophile to xenophile if shifting towards xenophobe. Okay, that makes sense. I was reading poor. As this will typically result in having too many or too few governing ethics. It will also automatically adjust your other ethics to follow the 3 ethics points rule. Downgrading, upgrading, removing, or adding ethics as necessary. Which ethics is lost or added is determined by attraction. So if you're a spiritualist xenophobe and authoritarian, and makes a shift towards militarist, whichever of the spiritualist, xenophobe, and authoritarian has the lowest attraction in your empire will be lost as a governing ethic. Okay, I like that concept. Okay. So, let's go back and we'll look at the other dev diary that I missed. Governments, civics, and hive minds. Government rework. This is a free feature. With the focus of the banks up and Utopia being ethics, internal politics, and empire customization, we felt it would be remiss of us not to put in some work in regards to governments. While Old Government Grid worked all right to give you a broad range of governments to pick from, they were a bit lackluster and not very well balanced, and I rarely felt that the government I picked truly corresponded to my own idea of what my empire's society was like. I agree. To address all these issues at once, we decided to go back to the drawing board and redo the way the governments are constructed completely in banks. Instead of picking from a pre-configured government, you build your own from authority and civics. The authority determines how power is transferred in your government. The different authorities are democratic, ruler is democratically elected every 10 years, oligarchic, a ruler is elected every 40 to 50 years, dictatorial, I can't say that, dictatorial, the rulers are elected but rule for life, imperial, rulers are rule for life and are succeeded by appointed heirs on death. In all systems that involve elections, leaders will be elected from different factions in your country, and electing a ruler of a particular faction will significantly strengthen the political clout of that faction and the attraction of their related ethics. So be careful about letting a xenophile take charge of your supremacist empire. Okay, so we've got an image here that we've got our ethics over here on the normal ethics wheel. And some things have changed. Yeah, I can see that already. I'm not sure what the center one is. And then over here you have dictatorial. Oh, I know what that center one is. I know. That's got to be hive mind. So dictatorial. That's probably democratic, oligarchic, dictatorial, imperial, and hive mind. And then we've got the civics over here that I can see a slaver guild, police state, philosopher king, environmentalist, can't read that one, and shadow council in the list of civics. Civics represent the political and social traditions of your government and come in a wide variety of types, primarily limited by your authority and ethics. In addition to providing modifiers, they can also change how your empire is governed. For example, the citizen service. Civic ties citizenship to military service. Citizen service, civic ties citizenship. Wow, try and say that fast. To military service, so that only species with full military service are afforded the right to vote and become leaders. On empire creation, you can choose 2 civics, with the third being able to be unlocked later through research. That I like. I really like that concept. With a few exceptions, more on that below, civics and authorities are not necessarily permanent. Where previously you could change your government type for 250 influence, you now have the option to effectively rebuild your government at the same cost by using Reform Government button in the government screen. You can add and remove civics and change authority from among the picks available to your ethic. As your ethics and authority change, you may end up with civics that are no longer valid for your country. For example, a beacon of liberty that has lost its egalitarian ethic. When this happens, the civic in question will remain, but will become inactive and stop providing you with any sort of bonus, effectively a wasted civic slot, until you reform your government and replace it. I like that concept. Now, I can't really see what a lot of this is. So you have Idealistic Foundation, Beacon of Liberty, Mediocrity, Environmentalism, Free Haven, Cutthroat Politics, Shadow Council, Mining Guild, and probably some more. From the authority, civics, and ethics you pick, a government name is finally generated. Government name is purely there to roughly summarize the government you have built, as well as provide flavor, and has no actual impact on gameplay. Okay. So you have nationalistic zeal, citizen service as well, warrior culture, police state. Advanced civics, this is a paid feature. In addition to the normal civics available everyone, there is also a few special civics that are only available to those with the Utopia expansion. These civics are meant to simulate very specific kinds of societies and generally have more of an impact on your game than normal civics do. They are as follows. Syncretic evolution? Oh. Like symbiotic evolution. Syncretic evolution. Your species evolved along with another subservient species. A second species is randomly generated on your homeworld, replacing some of your primary species pops. They will always have the proles rebalanced in banks and strong Proles. Proles. I'm trying to remember what that trait is. And they'll have the strong trait, making them excellent soldiers and workers, but less ideal for the intellectual pursuits. This civic provides no additional benefits and cannot be removed once picked. Mechanist. Your species is obsessed with the pursuit of robotics. This civic requires you to be materialist and has you start with the robotic workers and powered exoskeletons technologies, and a population of worker robots to do the farming and mining and stuff like that for you, replacing some of your primary species pops. This civic provides no additional benefit and cannot be removed once picked. And then you have fanatical purifiers. Your empire will not tolerate the existence of any other sentient life. This civic requires you to be fanatic, xenophobe, military. I cannot speak today. And gives you very large boosts to the effectiveness of your military and gives you unity from purging xeno populations, but disables all diplomacy with other species and forces all xenopops in your empire to be purged, though you get to choose the method of extermination. All other regular empires will also have a massive relation malice with you. The one and only exception being fanatic purifiers from the same species. Okay. Let's see, we can see what the fanatic purifiers... Fire rate increased by 33%, army damage increased by 33%, gain unity from purging Xeno, may use Armageddon bombardment stance. Kind of epic. And then you have Hive Minds, which is a paid feature. In addition to advanced civics, those with Utopia expansion also get access to a unique authority with highly unique playstyle. The Hive Mind. Hive Minds are species where the individuals are part of the same vast psionically linked consciousness. The immortal Hive Mind rules absolutely over populations of non-sentient worker drones, using sentient autonomous drone leaders to extend the reach of its will. Picking the hive mind authority requires the hive mind ethic and can only be picked together with the other. With only one vast linked consciousness, the guiding values of a hive mind is whatever the hive mind player wants it to be. They have their own set of civics that can only be used by hive minds and cannot use any non-hive mind civics. So one mind, subsumed will, subspace in phase, natural neural network, ascetic, divided attention. That's all I see. And you have autonomous drones as your leaders. All pops from the founding species of a hive mind will have hive mind trait. Hive mind pops are not affected by happiness and will never form factions, allowing hive minds to completely ignore internal politics. Though this comes at a cost, they can also never benefit from the influence boost and other benefits provided by happy factions in a regular empire. As hive minds rely completely on their ability to communicate psionically with the drone population, they are also unable to rule over non-hive-minded pops. And as such, pops in your empire will automatically be killed over time and processed into food to feed the hive. Similarly, hive-minded pops that end up on non-hive-mind empires will be cut off from the hive and will perish over time. The only way to integrate pops between hive minds and non-hive minds is to use the biological ascension path to unlock advanced gene modding and modify them by adding or removing hive-minded. More on this next dev diary. However, hive minds can still coexist with other species. They have full access to diplomacy and can have non-hive-minded subjects and can be ruled over as a subject in turn. Though non-hive mind empires tend to be somewhat distrustful of hive minds on first contact. Okay. And let me do more research. Organic core. Border range increase. Yes. Okay. Those are going. While hive minds are psionically linked by nature, the way they function and their connection to the shroud is radically different from that of regular psychics, making them unable to follow the psionic ascension path. Furthermore, hive minds are deeply biological entities and fundamentally incompatible with the synthetic ascension path. They are, however, perfectly suited for the biological ascension path and can make use of it to assimilate other non-hive mind species into the hive as described above. You can almost make the Borg. So yeah. Cool concepts. I'm looking forward to it. Actually, going through those 2 dev diaries took up most of my scheduled time for this episode. Seeing as I'm almost a full half hour in. Actually, no, I'm closer to 25 minutes in, which is kind of where I'm looking at normally cutting these, so I can't really get a lot in the next 2 minutes, other than pointing out that between now and my next episode, I'm going to try and build another avatar platform. Do that behind the scenes. Let's see, I want to get my, we have monies. So let's make sure we have these terraforming like need be. Yep. So everything on this ring should be terraforming, and I should be able to do like 2 more over here. Okay. You. There we go. We've got 3 going over here. So, side cells. That's interesting. I haven't seen that before. But so is this. Let's do that. So, like I said, I'll be back shortly with a new episode. I got behind, and I do want to continue this and try and push out at least a handful more episodes. I want to get the Avatar done, and I want to try and clean up this mess. Hopefully, I can do quite a bit of growth between now and my next, between now and when Banks comes out. So, I hope you've enjoyed this. If you have, go ahead, hit like, subscribe, leave a comment below, tell me what you thought, and I will see you next time. Until then, bye-bye.